Okay. Now I'm gonna attempt to show how I do these bottom hollows. I'll start with how I make the plug and everything. I had it between centers to turn my shape. I turn a tenon as usual, but then what you're going to use as the plug for the bottom is basically a larger tenon. I try to make it a minimum of 3/8 of an inch thick after parting. So I have to allow another 1/8 of an inch or so for my parting tool. So I have this 3/8 of an inch thick. Being end grain, you definitely want to have some strength there, because otherwise you can punch a hole in the bottom. So I'll go ahead and finish parting this off. Okay, there's your plug with a tenon on it. Hang on to that, you're going to need it. Alright, now I'll clean up the face of this. Yes, you'll notice I'm a long ways over the tool rest with my tools. I've been buying nothing but long and strong tools. They allow you to go 4, 5, even 6 inches past the tool rest, as long as you've got a long enough handle for leverage. So I'm not worried about a catch or anything like that. They're made to do that. Put a little dot in the center. Measure the diameter of the plug. Okay. A little more than 2 15/16. We'll just call it 3. No, we'll call it less than 3. Okay. You want to draw a line so you don't go too far with cutting your recesses. Alright, get this thing out of the way. In case any of you wondered, yeah, this is the lathe I built. It runs fine. I don't have a problem. Contrary to what some people may think. Alright. Instead of using a drill and setting all that junk up, I'm just going to get enough of a recess going to where I can demonstrate how that plug works. Make sure you leave right in here where the gouge tip is. Don't come come any closer than 1/8 inch to that line, because you got to leave a little bit of a lip to support the plug when you put it back in. Actually, I've been known to hollow the whole thing doing it exactly that way. Okay. Now it comes time to go ahead and fit this. Get your recess made. That way you know where you're at and how much of a hole you can make to hollow through. Get up here. The reason I'm moving the rest further away, so I don't have to constantly keep moving the rest every time I want to see if the plug fits. Besides, I'll be using a square inch scraper. Again, they're made to go quite a ways past the rest. None of this 3/4 inch stuff. Now I start with just a shallow recess until I get it the right fit. This is where you got to sneak up on it. You don't want it too loose, and you don't want to have to hammer it in. You hammer on end grain, you got lots of little pieces. Nope, hair too big. That's why you don't go down all the way first. Now I can taper that. You're going to be disguising it later anyhow. Oh, one of them days. Turn it off so you can see. Okay. Okay, that's right. Just go straight in from there till I'm the right depth. I can go a little further. Yep, a little tight. Just a hair, just a hair. Do 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 do. Okay, this is the recess. This should fit fine, or real close to it. Now, I can pretty much see where it's going to go, but one of the secrets to doing these plugs is before you part it off, you would make a mark right here on the plug, and then a matching mark before you part it off. That way when you go to glue it back in, you just like line the marks up and pop it in there with the CA glue and you'll be all set. Yeah, that's going to fit. I like them just a little snug. It makes them easier to go in. Okay. Now, the edge of this recess right here where the tool is, you can, that's as, I could probably make it a hair bigger. You just don't want to get too thin on that recess lip. Okay, that's as wide a hole as you can make to hollow through. Now, I would usually run a 3/8 Forstner bit up, probably in this case, within 1.5 inches of the end of the, where it meets the chuck. There's another tenon on the other end. Then I just hollow from there. I use my hollowing bars usually. They have cup carbides on them. This would probably take me max 15 minutes to hollow out. When you get it all hollowed, find my grain here. Yep, Dave, help if you could see what you were doing. I don't have my glasses on. I don't like wearing glasses out here as a rule. Okay. Okay, that'd be it. Okay, so you're gonna put a layer of super glue right inside the recess. Put your plug in. I usually bring my tailstock up and put some pressure on it. Squirt my activator around the edges, whatever. Okay, let that set up good. You've got it hollowed. You've got your plug back in. Now, you can turn it around and work on the top. Now, you've already hollowed all of it out till right close up to the end. Usually I get within 2 inches, sometimes 1.5 inches. Now, in this particular case, I'll show you. Yeah, I got time. If I have to, I'll do this in 2 parts. Okay, I always mark my number 1 so my tenons go right back in where they belong. Oh, come on, jeez. Okay, now this is going to be a vase. Now, don't chop it off right here when you get it turned around and you start working. Take your lip here, your tenon, everything, and taper it down so you have a longer neck. Don't waste the wood. That way you've extended the neck. This probably won't show there. Then you take a drill. In this case it would probably be a 3/4 inch drill. Drill down until you punch through. Then using a scraper, a carbide, whatever tool you feel comfortable with. Spindle gouge will work. I wouldn't try a bowl gouge. You'll never make, it just won't make it down past the opening. Not very far. But a spindle gouge will work. If you've got the standard spindle gouge, make sure your rest is up close. Because they're shorter and don't have the leverage. But then all you do is you just hollow it out, the edges, hollow them out until they meet the edge down here. Do your sanding. On a vase like this, I would probably hollow it and sand it inside as far as I can. And then when I've got it done at the top, don't use your finger. Use a stick with some sandpaper on it, and you just sand it out and make it nice and smooth so that somebody gets their little finger in there, it feels smooth to them. And basically, you've just turned a vase without having to go through such a teeny little hole in the end, which almost invites an explosion, loss of the piece. And when it comes time, you make a little spigot out of scrap wood to put the opening over. Bring up your tailstock, and if you don't have a small beading tool, just put a groove right where the two pieces meet here. That disguises that. But to further fool the eye, you put a little groove outside and put a little groove on the inside. That way it disguises it. The eye doesn't focus on one groove, it's seeing all three. So most people will never know, unless they're a wood turner, a good wood turner, they'll never know that that was a plug and was hollowed from the bottom. And if they don't ask, you don't tell, and they'll just think you're the world's greatest hollower because you got that big tool down through that little teeny hole. But that's how I do it. It's actually very simple. I'd start out with something small like this before you try any of the big stuff, because that gets rather tedious, and it's the tools, you really have to watch your tools, because they can get away from you real easy when you get 8, 9, 10 inches past the tool rest. But that's all there is to it. If anybody's got any questions, everybody knows how to get hold of me. You want to tell your friends about the video, that's fine. I'm quite sure I made some minor safety violation here, sorry. But I don't take safety comments. You run your shop, I run mine. So yeah, that is how it's done. And like I said, you got any questions, just give me a holler, drop me a PM, whatever. And I'll gladly, pictures, whatever, you know, any tips you may need. It's no big secret. I don't keep secrets. But that's how I do my bottom hollowing. And I do it on big turnings that barely fit in this steady rest, right down to some little teeny vases and stuff that I've made for people. So try it out. Just take your time. And you might want to practice on a piece of scrap wood till you get that recess idea just right. But that's the way it works. All there is to it. Now I'm off to have an adult beverage.